Hey, how you doing? Today I'm going to make a Hollowcore Slab family, okay? And we're just going to show how to place that in maybe an efficient way. There's a few ways you can go about this, but this is the way we're going to do it. Okay, all right. So first thing we're going to do, I just made a floor there, okay? So it's a 150 mil deep slab, okay? And we're going to place our Hollowcore inside that. All right. So first thing we do, we're going to go and create a new generic model line-based family. And the reason I'm going to do that instead of a generic model structural framing family, well, there's loads of reasons, okay? But it doesn't matter. I'm going to create a new family, generic model, metric generic model, line-based, okay? And then I'm going to recategorize it as structural framing so that it behaves and reports like a beam, like structural framing. All right, so first thing, we'll recategorize up here, family category and parameters. Click into that, we'll change it to structural framing. Done. Okay, section shape. I'm not going to fill that because it's not going to be any of these guys here, okay? Material for model behavior, it's concrete. Okay, and that's about all I'm going to change for now. Okay, cuts with voids, okay. All right, and okay. Now, so with a line-based family, it places like a beam does. That's why one of the reasons why I'm using it. Well, it's the main reason. So when we place it in a plan, you click your starting point and your end point, just like a line, and also just like a beam because that's how we put the beam as well. Okay, so like a beam basically is an extrusion along or a sweep along the length path. Okay, so this length parameter is our instance parameter, so we can click and drop because it's an instance parameter. Okay, right. Enough waffle. Right, so I'm just going to save this as, I'll save as family, call it follow for lab 50. Okay, save. Now, uh, I'm going to make this a little bit parametric insofar as I'm going to make it so that we can make the slab itself wider or narrower, so that for cut slabs for uneven for kind of the last run, let's say, or whatever. But I'm not going to change. I'm not going to adjust for the depth. I'm only going to leave it at 150. Okay, just to keep it reasonable. Okay, so what's the first thing I'm going to want to do? We're going to need a profile to extrude or to as a sweep actually really along this path. So file, new, family. I'm going to do this kind of a little bit by eye. So metric generic profile, hosted. Okay, it doesn't have to be hosted, but anyway. Okay, open. If you should be able to get a Hollowcore profile shape, let's say from your concrete supplier or whatever, but I'm just going to do one from memory, roughly what shape it is. So whether this is 100% correct is not the point. Okay, so I'm going to put some constraints in for our Hollowcore. I'm going to place it as the insertion point here at the top right, okay? So I've been two horizontal reference planes underneath, okay, and one vertical one to the left there. So dimension of the vertical origin reference plane, this guy, I'm going to dimension the two of these, pull it off and equals. So that's a center line in the middle of our Hollowcore, okay? Basically our, do you know what, we probably don't even need it for this, but it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll need it later. Right, so mention that guy and call it depth. So new parameter, depth. Okay. Select that guy, new parameter, width. Okay. Make the width 1200. It's kind of the standard size for Hollowcore. Right. Reference planes off so we can see them there. Unlock that. You shouldn't do that, by the way. Okay. Right. Just trying to make this a little bit easier for you guys to see it on screen. Right. So our hollow core, again, I'm just going to create a shape that's about roughly right. It's about, let's say, there to there to there to there to there to there. Okay, that's not quite right. Hang on. Yeah. Again, you can get an accurate shape. I'm just going to make this roughly right. Okay, I'm going to mirror that somewhere and pull it over here. Pull this guy against the vertical reference plane. Okay, that's our outside shape. So I'm going to create line, pick line, the horizontal reference planes with the lock. Okay, and then I'm going to trim those guys. Trim the corners. Are you following? All right. So if we just highlight that all, it's part of it's hitting the reference planes on the left and right, and towards the bottom segment, let's say, and the top segment is off the reference plane. So I'm going to just dimension lock those because I'm not going to bother making a parametric. Just going to dimension lock that and dimension lock that vertical, and the same over here. Lock, lock. And I'll just test that to make sure that all moves correctly. So change that to width 750. Wait, in the way 900. All right, it's all working fine. Go back to 1200. We have our profile there again. Yeah, I didn't need to bother putting that center reference plane in. I'll just take it out for confusion. Okay, so that's the outside shape of our hollow core. Okay, now you might be inclined to put the openings, the little holes in here in this profile, and the only way that you can do that to make it parametric is to put an array on it, so that you get more or less them depending on the width. And it should work, but it doesn't. Okay, so that's not going to work if you put this into this profile. Now you can go ahead and pause this and try it yourself, and then you'll find out it doesn't work, and then you can come back. Okay, so I'll save this guy. So let's save as family Hollowcore 150 outline file. Okay, save, and I'll load it into this guy here, Hollowcore Slab. Okay. All right, so in our reference, or in our plan view, I'm going to create a sweep along that reference line with my Hollowcore to one side of it, okay? So create, sweep, sketch path, pick line with lock selected. I'm just going to pick that reference line, okay? And okay. Then I'm going to select the profile we just put in, Hollowcore, and I'm going to flip it actually, just for whatever reason I want it on that side. Okay? Nah, you know what, I won't. Don't flip it. All right. There we go. So if I look at that in 3D, we have the beginnings of a Hollowcore slab, except it's not hollow. It's just a core. Okay. So we need to get some voids into the sweep. Just to show you again, look, you can change that 100. It's gonna extrude along the path. Okay. So we go into our left-hand view over here. We're going to need some constraints. Actually, do you know what? Let me just assign these parameters first before I forget. If we go down to families and find that profile, find that actual profile type, pull that on screen. Yeah, see the depth is actually off. So going to associate family parameter. There isn't one there, so we create new. Depth. I wasn't making this parametric, but turns out I am. Okay. Okay. And width. New parameter. Width. Okay. And okay. And okay. And you can select the sweep itself. I'm going to give it a material parameter as well. So with it selected over here into associate family parameter, There's a structural material there. Fine. Select that. Okay. All right. So just want to go into family types and fix that dimension for our depth. Change it to 150. Okay. It's imperceptible on the screen anyway. Okay. And I'll just save this guy. And then I'm going to start putting on constraints for my voids. Okay. Right. Reference planes. I need one for the bottom of the slab, one that's going to cut it in the middle, one for the center of the first hollow void, and one for the last. Okay. Now let's put the dimensions and constraints on that. Dimension these guys to each other and equals. Dimension this one to this one, top to bottom. Escape, escape, select the dimension, and assign depth. All right. Select this guy. Ooh, missing one. Okay, so create reference plane over here somewhere and dimension it start to end. After width, select width. Okay, and dimension this guy to this guy. Okay. Again, I'm not too worried about the design of the Hollowcore slab. You can go and find one that's from a provider. There's just numbers I think I remember from the top of my head for a particular type of slab. Okay, so I'm going to just lock that. I'm not going to make that parametric. That's the center of the first hollow. Okay, again, there's a particular Hollowcore slab that I have in the back of my mind. Okay, so what do we need now? We need a hollow that's going to go through that. Now I could create a void here, but I want to create an array, so it's not really going to work for me, or at least it won't work effectively anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, just save that. I'm going to create a new family, a face-based family, and we're going to make a face-based void. Okay, so file, new family. So we're getting all sorts of little families hopping in on top of each other here. It's great crack. Okay, metric, generic, model, face-based. Where is it? There you are. Okay, perfect. Now, lest you forget, face-based. That's like a plan, but it could be a wall or whatever because it's a face. It's not really relative to a ground plane or a wall plane or roof or whatever. It's whatever the face is. Okay, so that's our face. That's our reference planes intersecting. Perfect. I'm just going to go into an elevation. Doesn't really matter which one, and I'm going to create a reference plane underneath. So this is going to be the far end of the void. So it'll be the length of the Hollowcore slab. Okay. Escape. Now the length is an instance parameter in our Hollowcore slab line-based family, right? But it's going to be a type parameter here because we're going to have multiple voids, and they're all going to be the same type. So we want them to change length together, and you could assign them all. No, you can't actually. So this one has to be a type, and then we associate it with an instance parameter. I don't need to be confused now. Okay. So dimension of the reference plane down to the reference level down to the reference plane. Escape, escape. Select that guy there. New parameter, and call it length, I guess, and leave it as a type parameter again. Okay. And just because we don't like dodgy numbers, it's going to make that 500. It doesn't matter what it is. So reference level. Create void forms, void extrusion. Okay. Circle. Doesn't matter, just bang it in there somewhere like that. Escape, escape. Select that guy and tick the center mark visible. Okay. Escape, escape. You see it now? We have a center mark that we can align and lock to, okay, or dimension from. So using your align and lock tool, align to the reference plane, make sure lock is selected. Bing, this one, boom, escape, okay. And just select your circle and click on the little temporary dimension there to make it permanent. About going about it, select the dimension and create parameter. Radius. Right. Okay. Radius, what do we want it to be? It doesn't really matter. We're going to assign the value in the main host family anyway, but just what do we say? We'll make the radius 32 anyway. Okay. And okay. Into the front or side, doesn't matter. Elevation is the point. And pull that little, you could use your align lock tool, but pull it down to the reference plane and it'll snap to it. Click your lock. Do the same with this guy up here. Lock. All right, or as I said, you could use the align lock as well. Then cut. Click your void. Select the face thing and cut. Okay. So if I looked at in 3D, we got a hole. So you turn it so you can see through it. See, we got a hole on that face. All right. Right. So save that as family. What? Circular hole. All right. Circle void. Fine. Because you might use this for other stuff. You know. Now I'm just saving all this stuff into one folder because you shouldn't do that. You should have everything organized and categorized properly so you can find them again and use them again. All right. That's a lot of the good stuff with Revit is you can build up your content. You know, that's everything you spend time on doing it now. It probably isn't worth it for this job you're working on, but if you do it now, then you're not having to do it 10 times in the future. You know. Okay. So load that into our Hollowcore Slab family. Perfect. Into the left view. Okay. So create component, and it'll be the one we just loaded, which is the circle void. Place on face, not work plane. Okay. Just bang it in there. Escape. I'm going to align and lock it to the reference planes. All right. Escape. I'm going to select it and give the length, associate the length dimension parameter. Edit type. So length. Click associate parameter, and we have length. Okay. And radius. Click on associate parameter. We don't have one yet, so I'm clicking new one. Radius. Or void radius. All right. Brilliant. Okay. And okay. Now, if we look at that in 3D now, that's going all the way through. See? See? Brilliant. Right, back into our left elevation. So we're going to create an array. And we have a few options with array. The default is the array to the second one on your array, but we're going to change that to array to last, okay? So select it. The array one tool here is this little guy with the 4 boxes. Like that. Change it from, well, okay, I've already got it changed here. So yours probably has it on second, okay? So if it's on second, click on last, okay? The number doesn't matter. We'll sort that out later. Leave it at 2. So, and also just ignore that the fact that it's telling me I can't do it, because I can. You can see the circle with the line through it. Okay, so find the reference plane and pull it across to that reference plane. Okay, click. Just leave it at 2 for now. Okay, escape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to align and lock the second one to the reference planes. Bing, boom. Okay. Now what I want is for the number on the array. So let's say I'm going to select that array there. I can change that to 8. Okay, so that's about right. Okay, so that's for the 1200. Let's say there should be 8 voids in it. Okay, and they're about 133 apart. If my maths is right, yeah, there you go. So I want the number of those to reduce or increase depending on the width of the slab. You know, okay. So how are we going to do that? Okay, we're going to go into family types. We're going to create a new parameter called array, or call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it array. New parameter, array. Right? I'm going to leave it as a, no, I'm not going to leave it as a type parameter, am I? No, it's going to be an instance parameter. Is it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. No, you can leave it as type. Okay, so length, integer. I might have to go back and change that in a minute. Integer, sorry. Change the type of parameter from length to integer. So if you don't know what an integer is a number. That's a whole number. Okay, so if you do a calculation and your answer is 3.71, if it has to be an integer, it'll make that it'll make it 4 because 3.7 it'll round. Okay, so we need an even number to assign that number to the amount of voids we want in our Hollowcore slab. Okay, so we can't have 3.71 holes or voids, so it needs to be 4. Okay, or 3. But It has to be an integer, is the point. Okay, and okay. Right. So what have we got? We got 133 at each end, okay, and we got 133 between them, and they're 32 mil. Okay, so if we do width, so the width of the slab, so I put that in brackets, width minus. These are parameters. You could type the parameter names, but they're not. They're just dimensions. Okay, so width minus 266, 2 times 133. Okay, close the brackets. Divided by 133 is the spacing. Okay. Again, these could be parameters. We could be referencing another parameter, but we're just going to leave it as 133 is the spacing, and that's it. Okay. So divided by 133, and then we need to add 1 because it'll give us 1 less than we want. So add 1. So plus 1. All right. 8. You see? You think I didn't know that? Okay. So select the array. I'm going to change that just to some other number, just so you can see it change when I apply the parameter. Okay. So select one of your guys again in the array. Select the little line that appears there. Can you see that? That's the array line. Select that. And with that selected, we can now assign a parameter to the array. So up here where it says label, none, change that to the array parameter we just created. There it is. Haha, isn't it lovely? Right, so if we change the width to 900, boom, change it to 450, there you are, 1500. I can keep putting numbers in there, but you get the point, right? So it'll change, it'll keep roughly 133 centers, okay? Perfect. Beautiful. 3D, just to make sure you see it actually works, right? Reference level, let me just change the length as well, just to show that it works. So whatever, 2500. 3D. Avoid, you can look through if you get it straight. All right, brilliant. And that, my dear friends, is a Hollowcore slab. All right, so back into your reference level, it's useful to have your flip tools at the origin. It is. So in your create tab, the controls will add a double vertical over there at the insertion point and a double horizontal. Okay. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to load it in. All right. Right. So first thing I'm going to do, I'll come back to my 3D in a moment, but I'm going to go to my ground floor just to show you how you just place with it like you would a beam. Okay, so it's structural framing, so structure, beam, Hollowcore slab. All right. Place and face or work plane. I'll just stick on work plane this time, and there it is. It's not visible in that view. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. So if I went back to my floor plan, it's not visible, so we can't do anything to it. That's a bit of a pain. I must have the structural framing turned off. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so you could flip it on a plan view. Okay. Right, so a handy way to put it into your floor is structural framing, beam, place on what? Face. Okay. No, do you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to select pick line. Work plane. Nope. Place it. Cancel. Sure. That Mason Thomas. Beam. Pick line. Okay. Again, maybe I can just go into the floor plan and turn that on. Floor framing is on. Why is it not showing? View range. Just took that down to unlimited. There it is. Okay, flip that guy over. Back into 3D. So there, it's inside your floor now, right? See? And then we can go to our modify tab. We know it's 1200 wide. And we can do offset. 1200. It's already with copy selected. Bing. There's another one. And there's another one. And there's another one. And another one. And another one. And another one. And what's that? But is that 900, 600? What is it? 300. It's an awkward number. Let's just, for the sake of it, let's just make this slab. Oh, it's 300 too big. Sorry, we're going to make this one 900. Okay, so edit type, duplicate, Hollowcore Slab, 900. Okay, 1200 to 900. Okay, there it is. Brilliant. I don't see the material there. Do you? No. Let's go back into the family. I must have missed that. Select that. Edit family. Oh, do you know what? I forgot. Maybe it's an instance parameter. It is. I didn't check the instance parameters. All right. See, it is. There is a material, but it is an instance parameter. If you look here, structural material default. Default means it's instance. Okay, I'm going to change that to a type parameter. So edit parameter and change it to type. Okay. And okay. Load in the project and save. Yes. Yes. Isn't she lovely? Yep. And there we have a Hollowcore slab repeated across your floor. Isn't that brilliant? All right, guys. Listen, if that's any use to you, give it a thumbs up, send in a comment, let me know. And I appreciate all this, anybody who subscribes and any feedback I get. All right, lads, have a good weekend. Even though it's only Wednesday, isn't it? Never mind. Have a good week and see you next time.